Welcome everyone to Jobs in the Age of AI. It's another Singularity Syndicate webinar, episode 3. I'm your host, Naja Faisal, and this webinar is brought to you by Singularity Syndicate, a mastermind group with a mission to create technologically inclusive society by helping everyday people navigate transformative technologies shaping our future and providing a platform to discuss its implication. In today's webinar, we have 4 simple agenda that we want to go through. First of all, I'm just going to give you a very brief background and overview about the whole AI landscape. And then we're going to talk about 3 recent reports on the impact of AI in the job market, which is probably the main reason why you're here. And then finally, we're going to talk about a little bit the future of the new jobs that might be created. And then finally, and that's something is a bit of change from previous episodes, where we're going to do some sort of an interactive session whereby we're going to you can tell me your profession, and we're going to go to ChatGPT with a specific prompt that I designed before this presentation, and then this prompt will give us some sort of idea of if your job is in danger or not. So stay tuned for this for that. All right, it is not the strongest nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. A great quote to start this conversation, because this is what it's all about in the end. So I'm sure by now you know what AI is. It's the ability of machines to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. And AI is not new. The AI started from the time the computers started. From 1950s, we start visualizing a thinking machine, and however, like, it didn't really make much of a dent in the universe unless recently. And the reason why is this magic formula that I've been repeating in most of the webinars, because this is really the turning point of where AI becomes super powerful. Is the explosion of the amount of data that the internet generates. In addition to the large amount or the immensely affordability of a huge amount of computational power. And then these 2 factors are made a huge difference in addition to the algorithms. Most of the algorithms have been developed really a long time ago. However, the difference was the explosion in data mining or data collection, and the explosion in computational power, which gave rise to AI models like ChatGPT and many others, machine learning models. So in terms of so the contention between human and machine is really old. I mean, this is a look at the prehistory of technology. Of course, language is the catalyst for human intelligence in general. But the concerns and the worries that brought you in today to this webinar and brought us all together in this webinar are probably similar to the concerns that the manuscript copyist had when the printing press came along. And then the blacksmiths who used to produce horseshoes had similar concerns when the cars became mainstream. And so does factory workers when electricity was created. Millions of them were replaced or feared to be replaced by machines. And then when the personal computer came along, for those who are, I don't want to say old enough, but for those who have experienced the beginning of personal computer, there was a similar wave of fear that struck the world, saying that computers are coming after all of our jobs. The same goes to when e-commerce came along. So and it's still happening right now. So the more e-commerce, the more our shopping becomes online, the less retail jobs are required, which is really impacting the job market in terms of the retail. So as you saw that throughout history, we've been experiencing waves after wave of technological revolutions that have impacted the job market. But every time we worry about losing jobs, we are surprised, or not surprised, maybe we are delighted that many new jobs were created, and therefore it's all for the advancement and the benefit of humanity. Now the question is, what is AI is going to be different? Is artificial intelligence going to change that? And here, like, to be honest, I don't know, and many people don't know either. But I am very optimistic about the AI future, and we're going to talk today about that. I mean, Steve Jobs said that innovation is the ability to see change as an opportunity and not a threat. And that's probably the theme that we're going to start with, talking about the jobs that will be impacted by AI. So we start off this section by the false assumptions. Okay, so when I started reading about AI, maybe 5 years ago or maybe more, the first thing I read about was like, oh, you know what? AI is going to come after the manual labor jobs. AI is going to come after the bottom of the pyramid kind of jobs, the routine jobs, manual labor, all of this stuff. or it's going to come after like the think tanks. It's going to be like superpower reserved for the country leaders and big people who make most big critical decisions. So that's what the false assumption, because in the end, jobs came after the easy mental jobs. The second false assumption was that AI is not going to be creative. So if you are in a creative work, if you're in a creative job, your job is safe. If you're an artist, if you're a writer or a designer, the assumption was that your job is safe. However, this turns out to be completely the opposite. So the first thing that AI came after was the creative jobs with tools like DALL-E 2, Midjourney, and Stable Diffusion, and all of these tools that are creating stunning design and art in mere seconds. Same goes to writers, and we will see how this technology is going to impact a lot of these jobs. So the first thing we do is we ask ChatGPT, what are the industries heavily affected? And then here's what it gives you. So if you haven't subscribed to your YouTube channel, I put the link in the chat. Please subscribe. And once you are on YouTube, and if you are watching this on YouTube, you can pause the video at any given time and check if your industry or your job is affected. Probably wouldn't be a good idea to go through every because this presentation is full of lists and tables. So I don't want to bore everyone with reading all of these. But in general, okay, the industry is heavily affected. Manufacturing, transportation, retail, finance, healthcare, diagnosis, not all healthcare, of course. And then the industries that are less affected are a lot of manual labor, early childhood education, physical therapy, stuff like that. And now when it comes to jobs that will be replaced, according to GPT-4, are like data entry, paralegals, bookkeeping, market research analysis, social media managers, virtual assistants. I think this is the biggest one. And again, feel free to pause the video and take a closer look according to GPT. But what I'm mostly excited about sharing with you today are the 3 recent studies, as we say it, fresh out of the oven, right? So these are the most recent reports that came out that talks about the labor market in the age of AI. And we're going to talk about Goldman Sachs report, OpenAI's report, and the US Career Institute report. So when it comes to Goldman Sachs, this is a report that came out 26th of March. So it's literally a few days ago. It says that around 300 million jobs in the US and Europe will be affected. And of course, I don't want to scare you here, but yeah, it's pretty damn scary. 300 million jobs it's not an easy number. So let's dig into that report, which with the first graph that shows that 2/3 of current occupations could be partially automated by AI. So 2/3, right? So 2/3 of the occupations will be automated or partially automated by AI. The second graph talks about 1 out of every 4 work tasks could be automated by AI. So even if you have a job, you have, let's say, 10 tasks that you do every day at your job, or let's say 8 tasks you do every day, 2 out of these 8 could be completely automated. So your time would be, so if you think about it as a bigger scale, so imagine that you need 8 employees to fill a certain position. Now you could use 2 less of these 8. So for every 4 employees, you could use 1 less. So here the companies have to choose. If I'm let's say if I'm a company and I want to choose whether I would save costs and let go of this 1 person that I don't need anymore, or do I keep all 4 and increase my productivity? So that's basically what companies need to choose and make. Yeah. Another slide goes into saying that 18% of work could be automated by AI, and the heavy impact will be on developed markets, right? So developed markets are going to be more affected than emerging markets. So developed markets, we're talking the US and Europe, and Hong Kong, for example, is heavily affected. So this is what this report talks about. And this is, I think, one of my favorite graphs. It shows you, okay, so the gray, anything you see gray, so gray are 50% likely to be replaced. These are the jobs that more than 50% are likely to be replaced by AI, right? And if you look at this, okay, so what we have here, the biggest threat is for jobs that are in office and administrative support. So if you're in an office or administrative support job, maybe customer support, maybe like stuff like that. So you probably should consider pivoting or do something about maybe reskilling yourself or make some changes, because AI is going to come after your job, basically. The second would be legal, and that's also very surprising. I have many lawyer friends, and to know that a lot of their jobs going to be affected, because we always thought that we want our kids to be lawyers, but legal, because of all of the availability of the legal consultation and the legal literature online, so makes it easy for AI to generate legal advice. And then we've got a little bit of architecture and engineering. We've got um, right, food preparation. I mean, of course, these are on very lower style, lower impact. Now the light blue would be these are the jobs that the AI will complement, and then the dark blue are the jobs that will not be affected, and these are like building, cleaning and maintenance, installation, maintenance. Of course, like these are physical labor, construction and extraction, production. These are the jobs that will be less affected by automation and AI. So that's the bad news. The good news is that AI could eventually increase annual global GDP by around 7%, and that's what this report means. So what does that? What means that our productivity as a country or as humans will increase by this revolution. And a proof of that is that they have included a study since the 1940s that talk about the new occupations that were created after 1940 that did not exist. So they have this this comparison saying that some jobs are going to be lost, but more new jobs are going to be created. We moved on to the second report that is produced by the one and only OpenAI, the famous company that is everybody's talking about these days. They have released a report in March 17, and they are talking about major changes in the job market according to their own research, right? So in summary, the safe jobs according to OpenAI are, again, the agriculture equipment operators, athletes and sports competitors, automotive glass installers and repairs, bus, truck mechanics, and diesel engine specialists. So these are all the physical labor jobs. Yeah, I don't want to like go through them, but yeah, dishwashers, excavating and loading machines, helpers, carpenters, yeah, meat, poultry, food, motorcycle mechanics. Where the unsafe jobs are interpreters and translators, they are heavily affected. Survey researchers, poets, lyricists, and creative writers. This is the art that we talked about. Animal scientists, public relations specialists, survey researchers, mathematicians, believe it or not, mathematicians will be less needed. And again, that's the report. Those who prepare taxes, financial quantitative analysis, and web and digital interface designers. So these are kind of the unsafe jobs. So the OpenAI report is divided into two. There's like one that talks about the human experts have put their opinion in that, or their study in that report, but also they let the AI model also contribute to this report by, and then the AI model has a different list of jobs that, according to this AI model, are going to be unsafe. And these are like correspondence clerks, in addition to the previous ones, of course. What's surprising, blockchain engineers, like I'm skeptical about that, because blockchain is a big technology that is continue to disrupt, and it's one of the technologies that we talk a lot about here and we're planning to talk about in the Singularity Syndicate. Court reporters, proofreaders and copy markers or copywriters, accountants and auditors, news analysts, reporters and journalists, legal secretaries and administrative assistants, clinical data managers, climate change policy analysts, these jobs. So ChatGPT and the future of software tools built with the program could impact at least 50% of tasks necessary for around 19% of jobs in the US market. So that's pretty staggering. 80% of US workforce could use at least 10% of their work tasks affected in some way by ChatGPT. And jobs that require critical thinking are less impacted by large language models, while programmers, which is very surprising, and writers are more susceptible to being influenced by LLM. So again, because ChatGPT could also write code, so that means that programmers, instead of, again, we're not going to eliminate, I don't think the programming field will be completely eliminated. It's just going to be either more efficient, or, so if you have a team of 10 programmers, now I think with not only ChatGPT, but with other tools, like GitHub Copilot, for example, these tools will going to enhance the performance of these programmers, so they could do more for less people, which means that if a company wants to save costs, they can kind of get rid of some of the programmers, but maintain the operation. Or they could keep all the programmers and produce more, which is also a possibility. So yeah, so finally, OpenAI, they are talking about, I think OpenAI are conducting the most comprehensive UBI, Universal Basic Income study, And this is separate from the job report. This is something extra that I wanted to include because so what OpenAI are saying, like as they are developing the artificial general intelligence, which is like the big brother or the big brother of ChatGPT, like they want to create AGI, which is a super intelligence machine that can do can outperform humans in all tasks. And they expect when this comes out, then it's going to be like a major disruptor for everything. And they are proposing the universal basic income, which means that everybody, whether you work or not, you will get paid. And Sam Altman says that in as little as 10 years, AI could generate enough wealth to pay every adult in the US $13,500 a year. And this is according to their studies. So it's pretty disruptive stuff. Now we go to the third and final report that we looked at, and this talks about, this is from the US Career Institute. And it says that 65, it says that 65 jobs with the lowest risk of automation by artificial intelligence and robots. So this is going to be the list for you guys to know what are the jobs with the lowest risk of automation. So if anyone is trying to reinvent their skill set or reinvent themselves, so this is the kind of the list that you want to look at, and it's considered safe. Now again, all of these are predictions, so I don't want you to to take my word for it, but just for you to consider. This is only for educational purposes. So safe jobs, again, healthcare, nurse practitioners, choreographers, physician assistants. Notice that general doctors are not mentioned, which is really interesting. So doctors who diagnose, because of AI, they're less needed, kind of, which is really interesting. However, like healthcare professionals who actually do the work are more needed now. So a mental health counselor, I personally have doubt knowing how good ChatGPT is with mental health counseling. So I'm really not sure and doubtful of that as a safe job. But again, I'm just reporting what the report says. Nursing instructors, teachers, post-secondary, coaches and scouts, athletic trainers, physical therapists. Again, the whole list is there for you. For your, you could check it, pause the video, or yeah. There's another, this is the continuation of the list. So there are 65 jobs that they're talking about here. Yeah, and this is the third list. Chief executives are still needed, like leaders of companies. This is also like, I think this is a good time in general, like if you have accumulated enough experience in your career and you've been working for quite a while, I think it's a good time for you to maybe start a business. But again, I don't, I'm not, and I don't want you to do things that you blame me for later on. I'm not, but yeah, but this could be maybe I believe personally that ChatGPT and AI in general is a huge accelerator of entrepreneurship. So I would say that yeah, that could be very much a possibility for us to find a problem and try to solve it, knowing that we have all the tools needed to start businesses these days. And then the final slide for that report is, these are the 10 lowest risk of automation, right? These are the ones that, according to this report, are the safest of all. And these are nurse practitioners, choreographers, physician assistants, mental health counselors. Again, I'm not sure about that. Nursing instructors and teachers, coaches and scouts, athletic trainers, physical therapists, orthotists and prosthetists, and occupational therapists. Okay. So yeah, if your job is not part of these, I don't know. What do you think? Let me know. And now another slide of hope to all of us is a blog post that I read recently by Craig Satel. I'm hoping that I pronounce his name well. He wrote a blog, says, "What will a human do in an artificial intelligent world?" And he mentioned a study by Antonio Damasio and Jonathan Haidt. Again, I hope that I'm pronouncing their names well. But these two scientists, they studied people who have part of their brain damaged, which means that they cannot have emotions. So they took these people, they studied them. And it turns out that despite having their mental activity normal, like they have perfectly rational brain, these subjects or patients that they were studying couldn't function normally. Not even, like, they could explain the problems that they have, but they couldn't make any decisions. So their conclusion with this study is that human emotions and intention are still vital for decision making and adding value. So let's hope that this is remain true and that human will remain needed. And they mentioned a few more details about, like, individuals without emotions cannot make decisions. Social intuition theory suggests that we make moral judgments through unconscious intuition. Humans often disguise their true intent even to themselves, and artificial intelligence can present curated information but cannot understand why we should care about it. And then they said that, for example, Apple stores will still need employees, and so does the traditional bookstores, despite despite the boom in e-commerce. I mean, that's true. Kind of like when you go to Apple store, it's packed all the time. So despite people could potentially like use online, but would this continue the case? Would this not? Again, if you're on YouTube, leave me a comment. Let's talk about this. But yeah. The last section, before we jump into is your job in danger section, we're going to talk about the emerging jobs, okay, the new jobs that are coming as a result of AI. And we start this with this quote: "You cannot stop the waves, but you can learn how to surf." And that's what we are here trying to do. So these are, according to GPT-4, these are the 10 emerging AI-driven jobs. So we're going to need AI trainers, so professionals who specialize in training AI models, because again, AI is going to continue to grow exponentially. A lot of needed people to continue to train these models. At the same time, AI is raising a lot of ethical concerns, and which means that we need people. I think the Singularity Syndicate, our group here, and again, I hope that you guys believe in the mission and continue to support this group and contribute to the group. This group could become more of like the voice of the people when it comes to AI and disruptive technologies. And my aim is to eventually create a board for that group. This is a nonprofit group, so my aim is to create like a board and then try to start like lobby and grow this group so we can make our voices heard. So yeah, this group could act as an AI ethicist, basically trying to lobby for better regulations when it comes to AI. AI translators, professionals skilled in natural language, so understand the AI and able to improve its communication. I think at some point we need AI explainability as well. Like, for example, let's say you use AI in court or in medical diagnosis, and you need to explain why the AI says that this is the case. So this is, I think, a huge field of research right now about AI explainability. AI integration specialist, AI content creators again, and then there's the 6 to 10 AI powered customer support agent. I'm not really sure, because you could rely on a trained version of ChatGPT to really do a lot of your customer support, but still, I mean, maybe. Okay, AI bias auditor, AI policy analyst, AI explainability expert. Oh, that's the one. Okay, it's mentioned. And then AI enhanced education specialist. Again, so these are the 10 emerging AI driven jobs. And then finally, I stumbled upon another blog, but I forgot what it was. I'm sorry, but I'll try to find it and put it in the description. This talks about mentioning ChatGPT as a skill in your resume. Okay, so wild stuff here. And then there's this quote that says, "Candidates who are familiar with and comfortable with using latest technological tools, including ChatGPT, will always have a competitive advantage in the job market." So yeah, it could be also that ChatGPT. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be only really like know how to ask questions, because everybody knows how to chat. We've been chatting since the internet started. So I think here they're more into like prompt engineering. If you haven't attended the last webinar we did about prompt engineering, maybe that one could be probably a skill that is definitely going to be in demand. And by the way, the video on YouTube on prompt engineering has 11,000 views in just 10 days or something. So it's doing very well. So yeah, so the industries are hiring for ChatGPT experience, technical AI engineering, marketing, copywriters, social media, sales, legal professionals, etc. The only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. And this is the kind of the final quote that I leave you with today before jumping into the interactive session. So here this is me asking ChatGPT to provide a prompt. I told it, "You are a prompt engineer, and your task is to construct a prompt that will determine whether a certain profession or job title is going to be affected by AI in the coming few years." And ChatGPT, sure enough, gave me this prompt. So what we're going to do now is copy this prompt, and you can tell me in the chat what is your profession, and I could open and share my screen with ChatGPT on it and replace your profession here, and then we can read through and see what we can do. All right, so I'm going to be also, if anyone has a question, feel free to unmute yourself and ask it.
Naja, it looks like there's a few questions in the chat box.
All right. Would you like? Oh, okay, let me look into them. Would you like to read them, Diana?
Sure.
Or read some of them?
Sure. Let me just go back to it. Oh, first it said somebody was asking about the first slide and who it was from.
The quotation?
No, the first research study, because you showed three.
Uh-huh.
One was with OpenAI, and the other one, the first one though.
Yeah. So OpenAI.
Yes.
Okay, so there are 3 studies. Okay, Here they are. So Goldman Sachs, it's the first study from Goldman Sachs. This is basically the report itself. This is the screenshot of the first page. And the second was the one from OpenAI. And the third is from US Career Institute. And whoever answered, does that answer your question?
Somebody else was asking, Naja, regarding the board or public organization that you'd like to create. I'm on board. How can we join?
Thank you very much. So I have left in the chat, in the first message of the chat, I have left my website information, like www.najafaisal.com. There, I also have a Calendly. I have also, you could also schedule a call on this link where we can go on a call and talk and see what we can do together. All my contact details, even my email, is available on my website. So again, if you're still seeing my screen, this is my website. And then here I have my email, I have Twitter, LinkedIn, and then here you could book a call. And also you may also join my newsletter on this website too. And all of the links for my other activities are here. So yeah, I appreciate your support. Of course, feel free to send me an email and we can start a conversation.
Another person, Scruffy, is asking, in terms of utilizing SaaS, I'm assuming software as a service, to generate wealth, is there a way to use LLMs to create endowment funds for art programs at universities, build wells in Africa, sponsor all those kids Sarah McClellan sings about, etc.?
This is a very specific and question, and I would be very happy to answer it. I really encourage you who asked the question to please reach out. Let's have this conversation for sure. I mean, there's a lot of applications for LLMs, and we're only scratching the surface. So ChatGPT is just the beginning of what might go next. And also the way we're using ChatGPT, even the creators of ChatGPT and LLMs are not fully aware of the wide range of applications of their product. So it's, the applications and the way we're going to use these LLMs gonna be expanding pretty wildly in the few years to come.
Rebecca asked two questions, and she also gave a partial answer, I believe. So the first question is, what would you predict for the role of software development program manager? And she wrote, I expect developers will reduce to automated AI development. What are your thoughts?
I also believe that I've read something about the impact of AI on product managers in tech industry, as well as the project managers. Yeah, I mean, it's a I think it's a discussion. It is a possibility that AI might affect a lot of jobs, especially in tech, which is really interesting. And again, it's a false assumption. We thought that the people in tech are safe. Unfortunately, it looks like with the Copilot, the ability of AI to generate very good code, and it's going to always get better, makes programmers either not needed or it amplifies their work. And I would want to be optimistic and say, you know what, it's going to be great. It's going to be a great it's going to be great years ahead where programmers will be 10 times more efficient, more productive, and we're going to see an explosion of productivity and growth. So, but again, Rebecca, I think we are connected on LinkedIn, so I'm excited that you might want to join our podcast in the future. I don't know if I'm talking to, if you are the one, but I kind of remember that that I was in touch with Rebecca. So again, we're trying to bring more people into the podcast where we're going to have a lot of dialogues as well in the future. So for those, please go and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which will host the podcast series that we're planning to start.
Another question that Rebecca did pose was, what would you predict for website evaluation analysis for the purpose of making it profitable? She did also answer, I anticipate websites will be automated by AI. However, wouldn't it require a human touch?
Very, very good question, and she's right probably about the answers. So I think AI is going to disrupt traditional search engines. So I don't know if we mentioned in previous webinars that when OpenAI launched ChatGPT, Google issued code red. And so Google are immensely threatened by ChatGPT because ChatGPT has the potential to replace Google. So if you go to ChatGPT every day to get your answers, so that means that you don't need Google, which means that all of the ad revenue, all of the Google infrastructure when it comes to AdWords, all of the ad revenue, even on websites that used to rely on traffic coming in, no longer happens. So now there's no more traffic. So now that's why Bing are trying to integrate and provide some links of sources, but it's still very difficult to generate traffic if LLMs or large language models will be the main interface of people when they want information. So right now, people go to Google to get information. In the future, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this area developed. But thank you, Rebecca.
As for the last question that you posed, and you asked about jobs, Naja, a few people have answered. So one of them is a web software engineer.
All right, let's do this. Okay, let's copy this. So you still can see my screen, right?
Yes,
Okay. So it said web software engineer.
correct.
Web software engineer. All right, the profession of web software engineer is likely to be significantly affected by AI in the coming years, as AI technologies have the potential to transform various aspects of the profession. However, the impact will not be uniform across all tasks and responsibilities. Okay, so in terms of automation, AI-powered tools are already automating some aspects of web development, such as code generation and testing, blah, blah, blah. And then decision-making, AI can also support web software engineers. Compensation, as AI-driven tools become more advanced and capable of handling wider range of tasks, the demand for web software engineers with specific expertise will increase. Okay. And efficiency. In summary, AI will have significant impact on the profession of web software engineer in the coming years. While it will automate certain tasks and improve efficiency, it's not expected to make the profession obsolete. Okay, so it's good news that this profession remains kind of intact for the coming few years.
Another one, that's wonderful. Another one by Amber Hooper. She wrote human-centered designer.
What does that really mean? If you're on the call, please let me explain what a human-centered designer means. Is it like a graphic designer or?
Naja, human-centered designer is a job title. It's in the realm of like service design, right? A service designer would be an example of a human-centered designer.
Very interesting.
Bridges between physical and like technology and stuff. So
interesting. Well, thank you for adding to my knowledge. I haven't heard of that job before. So let's see what GPT-4 says. Okay. Is anyone in this call haven't used GPT before or ChatGPT? Would be interesting to see, like, if someone is seeing this for the first time, like, what would they feel or about how specific this thing is? Like I mentioned, in considering factors such as automation, decision making, and compensation and efficiency, and it's spitting out all of these three. All right. I'm just gonna read the summary, if that's okay. But of course, as you're seeing on the screen, so it's you may probably be able to read. It's pretty long. So AI will impact the profession of human-centered designer in the coming years, but the unique nature of this profession, which relies heavily on empathy and human understanding, will likely make it less susceptible to full automation. Okay, so we've got, I think, good news here. Diana, do you want to go next?
Yes, the next one that I saw was, sorry, I don't see it any longer, but I believe it has something to do with program engineering or something like that.
Yeah, I think we tackled a little bit about that, but let's talk about, I think someone sent me an email talking about social worker, I think. Let's see, social worker.
And also college professor.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, college professor is a good one. I can't wait to see it next. I think we're going to have a full session on education coming up. It's called The Tipping Point. And I think this, I look forward for that one, because we believe, and I personally believe, that AI is going to be the biggest disruptor of education, bar none. It's going to change everything when it comes to education. So we'll see.
Naja, sorry, I'm going to tell you the one that I wasn't able to find before. It was software quality assurance and automation engineer.
Okay, sounds good.
Naja, would you mind pasting this prompt in the chat?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I just did. Okay, so when it comes to social worker, AI will have an impact on the profession of social worker in the coming years. Okay, will limit. Okay, but the human-centric nature of this profession will limit the extent of impact, which is, I think we mentioned it a little bit before. But let's talk about college professor now. We probably should have jumped directly to the summary. So the other one was, can you repeat, Diana?
There was college professor, and then there was software quality assurance and automation engineer.
Software quality assurance and automation engineer. Okay, I'm going to ask ChatGPT to make it shorter. Limit response to let's say 1,800 characters. Let's try that. Okay, when it comes to college professors, AI will have an impact on the profession of college professor in the coming years, but the unique nature of this profession, which relies on subject matter expertise, critical thinking, creativity, and personal engagement, will likely limit the extent of that impact. AI can support college professors by automating administrative tasks, improving decision-making, increasing efficiency, but it will not replace the essential human skills and expertise required for teaching and research. So I think, I have my personal subjective opinion on that too. So I would say that, before even AI, I think the whole idea of university degrees, and ironically, I'm pursuing one, but the whole idea of university degrees could be like traditional education could be easily replaced by untraditional education like Coursera or edX or these online courses that are pre-recorded. So if all of these courses are pre-recorded, then the need for professors who actually lecture live would probably be less, maybe, like there's a lot of question marks there. So when we limit the answers of ChatGPT, it didn't put the summary, but AI will significantly impact the profession of software quality assurance and automation engineer. Anyways, now that you have the prompt and you have ChatGPT, it's free, so there's probably no need for us to proceed with this task. But it was fun, I think, to really showcase that most of how we can extract this information from ChatGPT. So I think now it's time. Is there any more questions that we can answer before closing?
I have one from Thomas,
Mhm.
if you don't mind. Where did it go? It says, don't you think Google will be angling to integrate advertising into its chat offering? I'd imagine advertisers will be salivating at the opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been thinking about the same recently, Thomas. So that's true. I think that's the future of advertising. Is like, let's say if you go to ChatGPT and say, "Hey, I'm traveling to Chicago, and could you please give me recommendations of places to go?" Right, and there is a perfect opportunity for ads. Right, perfect opportunity. If it's tell you, okay, here's what you could do in Chicago, but and then you could integrate sponsored links or sponsored places to visit or restaurants to see or to eat at and stuff like that. So yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Again, I hope that you found this beneficial. I hope that I provided you with the needed information. I hope it was worth your time. It's now 11:57, so I appreciate you spending time with me, and have a great rest of your day.